Hello everyone, I'm Renown Zero. We are back again talking about how EvS apparently believes that Eric July cannot fire the SOSKA sisters because they are simply around as from Hero vs. Babyface and they feel like they're uncomfortable, apparently, according to him, and that they could sue Eric for SA or SH or whatever you want to call it. Also, detractors are getting really butthurt over a post I made saying that CG isn't really a threat at all to indie comics and that these individuals are being absolutely delusional. And, of course, the post blew up and a bunch of weirdos came out of the woodwork to, of course, sweep for EvS because that's exactly what these weirdos tend to usually do when it comes to calling out EvS as absolute garbage when he sits up here and literally has to make stuff up in order to try to seem like Eric is the bad guy. But let's get into the Horseman Welcome to Flores Park. Pre-order collection sitting at 12,411 total books sold, 728,513 in total sales. It's also interesting that an individual by the name of Skullface wants to sit up here and say that Bloodroot isn't going to break 10K books, which is hilarious considering that people love Yaira, and Bloodroot's literally sitting at 7,367 books with 69 days left to go. 418,000 in total sales. Now, moving on over to Student of God, where he goes on to say, projection, again, EvS tells his audience that Drunk 3PO is doing this weird stuff, this homoerotic stuff that these individuals love to just sit up here and say as usual. It was proven recently in a documentary that EvS loves to project what he's doing onto everyone else. Watch the video below this one.
Yeah. That's the top secret files over there. That's a stack of NDAs, like over there in the corner with Brandon. You have all that. It's just like, man, it's so impressive. I remember walking in and I was like, tell me what I can take a picture of and what I can't. And they're all just like, this section right here is good.
This is an old clip, actually, that this guy's reacting to. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, stay away from over here. We don't even want you poking around there, Jay. We don't even want you poking around and see what's going on over there. But the thing is, 2 years, bro.
All right. Crazy.
Give me a freaking break, man.
This is like, Jay has taken over the show. I don't know what it is. Like, as soon as somebody joins Eric July on a live stream, he immediately becomes the sidekick.
What? It's literally Eric's stream, you clown.
He just becomes this kind of giggling.
Oh no, somebody having fun on a live stream. Someone who's not a fat, overweight, out-of-shape New Jerseyan crying about the black man again in indie comics for the 120th time.
Kind of sidekick character. By the way, the only way to talk to Eric July, the only way anybody knows how to talk to Eric July is to suck his dick.
Well, I guess that's what you were doing yourself then when you were talking to Eric July. Massive projection right there, buddy.
That's it, and he just sits there and lets it happen. Normal people, guys who have, like, some manner of dignity.
By the way, literally Shane does that all the time with you. Shane doesn't have an individual thought in his brain when he's on a stream with you. He just giggles along and goes along with whatever garbage that's spewing out of your mouth on a consistent basis.
We'll just be like, that's... All right, knock it off. How many times have you heard somebody go, okay, knock it off? I know. It's great. No, it's fine. It's fine. No, it's great to have you here. Eric sits there and just goes more. By virtue of the fact that Eric has not interrupted Jay to say, yeah, but let's talk about you now. Let's talk about Achromatic Chronicles Green and what we could...
He's already done that. He did that on the last stream.
Dude, we're 3 minutes and 40 seconds into this video. Jay has done nothing but fucking stroke the shaft, grab the balls, and polish the knob, and Eric is just letting him do it. Just keep going.
Bro, literally all of Comicsgate Kings does that to you. Especially Shane Davis. Like, what are you even talking about, bro?
Have you ever seen anything like this before? Is this how, like, people behave that you've witnessed? You're supposed to just kind of go, okay, yeah, it's good. That's how, like, even normal egomaniacs like myself can only take so much.
Well, at least he finally admits that.
Unvarnished praise. And then it's like, all right, let's get back to what we're talking about. I appreciate it. But you're embarrassing me now.
Because you don't have any real friends. Just remember, you've said that in the past, that you don't have any actual friends in CG. But moving on to here, the whole Me Too movement, saying EvS tells his audience that Eric July is inappropriately touching the SOSKA sisters. Claims Eric July can't fire them from Rippaverse because they will file a SH lawsuit.
Kind of me to point this out to Eric July. Was that he has set himself up for a huge
You're a narc, nobody cares.
Lawsuit with the way that he has treated his employees, Jen and Sylvia Soska. And not only just because
he's literally treated them with nothing but respect, and respects their work on Black Widow enough to be lore masters and work on 2 female characters in the Rippaverse, Yaira and Bloodruth. What are you talking about?
he's overly familiar with them. He touches them. He puts his hands on them, which you can never do when you're the employer. You can't do that. Like, Eric July hugs them, and he touches them, and he strokes them, and caresses them, and...
Anyone who's been to a Rippaverse meetup or a con meetup has never seen Eric July do the caressing or any of the other crap. Hug? Yes, of course. Hugs are normal. Unlike your brain, you have so much brain rot from talking so much crap about your competitor that you forget that people can hug other people.
Really, like, you know, all one of them has to say is, look, I was depending on Eric for my employment. He was touching me, and
Yara made $1.5 million. Bloodroof is reaching close to $425,000. And it's only been up for maybe a week and a half.
I felt like at the time that if I didn't go along with his advances, he would fire me. I'd lose my job.
Literal defamation, bro. Literal slander, I think, actually.
That's sexual harassment. That will cost him quite a bit of money. The other thing is, he was taking Jen and Sylvia on these shows with people like Az. And
So?
Az can't shut his mouth. Like, Az doesn't know what decency is. Az thinks it's funny to talk about fucking your mom in the ass and stuff. Like,
It's hilarious. It's actually quite funny. It's still more enjoyable to listen to than your crappy trash cast where you just sit here and complain about the black man for 6+ hours rather than spending time with your Parkinson's wife and your autistic daughter. But go on.
Wipe my dick on the curtains. He was saying this kind of stuff like, I woke up in the morning and just decided to suck a dick. Az was saying all these things in front of Eric.
Because it's funny. And it's sarcasm. It's sarcastic.
Who had Jen and Sylvia with him as a guest. And that's also cause for a Me Too lawsuit. Because...
A Me Too lawsuit would infer that Az is doing stuff with the Soska sisters, considering he lives in the UK and the Soska sisters live in Canada. That's actually impossible because you're an idiot. You just are literally just spewing drivel out of your mouth.
They're being exposed to extreme sexual harassment.
I'm sure 2 grown-ass women can handle themselves. They've handled drama better than you ever could, and they make more money than you, dummy.
Nobody has to. They don't want to listen to Az talk about dick sucking. They don't want to do that, and their boss is there right next to them.
So apparently you're a mind reader now? Like, what are we talking about here?
And implying that they need to be there, that this is part of their job. And it isn't part of anybody's job to have to do that, to listen to Az's fucking stupidity, and immaturity, sexual grossness. And they had to put up with it. You could see them struggling to laugh, like, ha 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 ha.
It's funny because you don't actually show a clip of that actually happening, and I don't think that's actually true.
With all that stuff. Now, do I personally think these 2 girls are actually uncomfortable with any of this? No, I don't think they are.
So then why would you even start this clip? Why would you even start this whole talk of this garbage out of your mouth? Dribble, absolute dribble.
Oh, but here's the thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how they actually feel. Those are valid complaints, legal complaints.
They're not valid complaints or legal complaints whatsoever.
To launch a lawsuit against Eric July should he ever let them go, should he ever fire them. I think Eric heard me say that. These girls have their jobs.
Why would they be fired when they're literally working on more material than they were when they first were hired? They literally went from writing Yaira, which they're still writing, to writing another book, Bloodruth, which I'm sure they're going to continue to write. Again, you're an idiot.
Forever now. For absolutely ever. The minute Eric lets them go, and by the way, they're not just freelancers. It's not as though they're just writing Bloodruth and writing Yaira or whatever they're doing. They are keepers of the lore. Like, he gave them editorial jobs. They're
He did not give them editorial jobs. He gave them a book where they can keep the canon. So that when they go ahead and talk to Chuck Dixon or Mike Barron or anybody else writing a book, they're not destroying canon or having loopholes or plot holes in lore in the universe.
Mike Barron, these two. They can't write a story on their own, and they're telling Mike Barron and Chuck Dixon.
They're not telling Chuck Dixon or Mike Barron how to write a story. That's not happening. You're an idiot. They're literally talking to each other about where their characters are in the story so that the stories connect together in the universe. You absolute moron.
Going over their scripts. These two bitches are going over those two guys' scripts with a fine-tooth
They're literally not.
comb, and they're telling them like what they need to change and blah blah blah.
They're literally not. You're literally making shit up as you go.
Keepers of the lore. So they're actually
And of course your retarded audience is just going to listen to whatever garbage comes out of your mouth because your fucking audience has no more than 2 brain cells to rub together.
officially employees of Eric July, not contract agents, employees.
So are Chuck and Joe Bennett and...
Astonishing. So the question is, where are
It's astonishing how retarded you and your audience are.
they now? Because last year at this time, or was it earlier this year, Yaira Winter, whatever that was, they were everywhere.
Cool. They're everywhere. Wow. They're representing a company. Holy crap. They're representing a company. Like, are you really this retarded?
Eric went, that's where they were. They were doing all these interviews and blah, 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 sitting next to his side, being interviewed. They just launched Blood.
Chuck Dixon was also interviewed. Joe Bennett was also interviewed by Igor, by the way. Mike Barron was interviewed by Eric. I mean, Eric literally interviewed every single person who worked on the Rippaverse, you dummy.
Bloodruth. Where are all the interviews? Where's all this stuff? Where are the Soska sisters? Why are they not sitting there next to Az? Why is Eric not wheeling them around? I mean, they didn't appear in...
They're literally going to be at MegaCon, you fucking moron. Why isn't Eric wheeling them around? They're going to be at MegaCon. They were literally at SpaceCon in October in San Antonio, you fucking moron. Bro, I don't know how you could do 120 plus trash casts and still be a fucking retard. And you're literally pocket watching, literally watching every single move that Eric is making, and yet you're still looking like a fucking retard because you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Themselves at some convention by themselves. Bizarre. But I do have a feeling.
You are a retard. You are retarded. I do think you're retarded. I told you, it was going to be a long one. This is this individual's response saying that the how to delete a movement is a hit piece apparently on all these other people, even though it's not. Not really on Billy Tucci, not really on Andy Smith, not really on Aaron Lepresti, not really on Peter Gilmore, not really on Wart the Wizard, and not really on John Malin either. They're really, and no Shane Davis. I watched the entire documentary. There really wasn't that many things talking about them much at all. A lot of it was EvS because he was the main factor in all the downfall of this movement. I said, no one is threatened by CG. That's a delusion you tell yourself. The Rippaverse changed the status quo of what crowdfunding should be, which I literally say great customer service, great quality books for people who actually care about the industry and stay out of the drama. What these clowns fail to realize is that when I say change the status quo, as in they have the shit already paid for, there's no risk to the customer, they actually get their books on time, sometimes early fulfillment happens, and people actually get the product they paid for in a timely manner, unlike people like Shane, who right now with Inglorious Rex 3, it's going to be over a year until you get your book. It's going to be even longer to get your CGC books from Shane. And the CGC for his is pointless because he literally signs everything. Yanzi and Shane sign every book you buy. So what is the purpose of getting a CGC book? If you really want to get a CGC book, you could spend $15 or $25 more dollars, and you can get an actual autograph that will matter in a CGC, like Chuck Dixon. EvS and Shane left a huge stain on what crowdfunding and indie comics should be about. They have brought down people like Billy Tucci and Graham Nolan and brought in a bunch of degenerates and lolcows into the fold. Iconic comics in the Rippaverse are the gold standard of indie comics. Miss me with that BS. And of course, he's trying to promote as if anybody cares about your books. I've got more likes on my post than you do putting your trailer in there. To which Dylan Corp here says, I thought the cowardly Eric July didn't do crowdfunding. He didn't crowdfund his book to what you think I'm talking about. He did not ask people for money to fund the book. He funded it in-house, put down his own money, and then it paid off for him. How can he change the status quo of something he doesn't even claim to do and doesn't have the cojones to block people on X without getting permission first? He literally runs his own account, bro. What? I'm impressed. Never seen this stuff. It's interesting to me how you know a lot about that word since you like to spew it a lot. It must be a factor in your life on a consistent daily basis. It's always interesting watching these guys melt down and have no argument when you compliment Eric July. He absolutely didn't crowdfund. The man upfronted the money and had a huge success on his hands. It wasn't very hard for him to change the status quo considering all he had to do was actually deliver his books in a timely manner and quality books at that. With the amount of times you use this word, you must know all about that in your daily life. Words have definitions. You should try picking up a dictionary for the first time in your miserable life. He literally embarrassed everyone in indie comics by actually getting product out in a timely manner, having the books done before launching a pre-order. I made my argument soundly. You claimed he changed the status quo of crowdfunding. I literally put it right there in the first post where I said, great customer service, great quality books by people who actually care about the industry and stay at the drama. And then said, deliver books on time in a timely manner and quality books at that. Literally explained in 2 different tweets what I mean. And this guy still doesn't get it because these guys are stupid. They listen to the dribble coming out of EVS's mouth and they run with the garbage. He indeed changed it. He invested his own money, had a pre-order rather than needing money to fund the project. Your brain must not have developed past the first grade, or past a first grade reading level. You literally have no argument. So I respond to Shane Davis, of course. I say, didn't tag you, but you somehow ended up on my post. No one cares about Inglorious Rex. Your backers and books sold are down, Cope and Steve. Now, what I mean is that you went from 2,130 backers on Inglorious Rex 2 to 753 backers on Inglorious Rex 3 on Indiegogo. Now, I will be fair and go over to his website where he has currently 2,631 backers. Now, of course, he sent all his backers to his website, which again is something that they were down on Eric for doing his own website, even though they had their stuff already registered and he didn't really start using it till later on. It's interesting to me. But another thing that they also said that was bad was apparently CGC, even though they do the same thing. And like I said earlier, you pay $100 to get Shane Davis and Yanzi Lin. You can go ahead and spend an extra $25 and get a real autograph of a real legendary writer that it actually will be worth something because Shane and Yanzi sign every single book for free. So you're wasting your money on this, in my opinion. And this guy says, so Rippaverse is crowdfunding. I said, these guys literally can't read. They never surpassed their first grade reading level. And I even said, they forgot that crowdfunding has multiple types. At this point, the new CG way is donation-based crowdfunding, while the Rippaverse and Iconic Comics are reward-based crowdfunding. Now, reward-based crowdfunding is contributors receive non-monetary rewards such as products and services in exchange for their support, whereas say new CG is the donation-based, which is contributors provide funding without expecting anything in return, often for social or charitable causes, because that's how I basically feel about all this garbage going on between new CG and Rippaverse. Did he change the status quo of crowdfunding by crowdfunding or by doing something else? And I said, I'm not obliged to explain stuff to you that is clearly laid out in front of you. Read a book. I literally say how he changed the status quo in 2 different tweets. It's not hard to read a tweet that I put out. You're just too stupid to understand my tweets. Because again, you listen to drivel coming out of a fat, overweight, out of shape New Jerseyan frog retard. There are way too many butthurt individuals out for blood sports and not for the love of comics. None of these weirdos on my timeline seem to ever show what comics they buy, what they love about comics, or anything like that. These are tourists looking for drama and blood sports, and the professionals that the Rippaverse and Iconic Comics stay above it. I can't forget people like Tyler, who actually try helping people while also staying above the drama. Projects coming from Mugen Lord, Hero Darky Dark, which Hero Darky Dark releases or launches for pre-order. Relentlessly Bully Hero number 2 tomorrow. Yellow Flash, Drunk 3PO all look impressive and stand out to me. And this clown, of course, says, you know what completely destroys your entire narrative? Billy Tucci and Graham Nolan both hang out with and respect Ethan and Shane. I don't know why. There's nothing to respect about Ethan or Shane at this point. I used to have respect for Shane. I used to actually talk about John, Shane, and Ethan's books in videos. Go back and watch my old videos from 6 months ago, probably a little bit further back, and you'll see that I did a whole thing where I talked about people who should back these books. Both Graham Nolan and Billy Tucci responded to Eric when he shouted out both of their running projects and series. You sound like a retarded puppy dog who lost his bone. And this crack smoker, of course, says, your posts always end up in our feeds because you talk about CG, you retard. And I'm like, there are these 2 amazing buttons that Elon Musk has given you on this platform. Mute and block. If you don't want to do that, you can simply ignore my post and move on with your pathetic life, considering that your name is still 3D Asset Verse, because you can't let it go. You can't let it go that supposedly Eric disappointed you, even though literally Cyberfrog uses stock photos in it, and 3D assets are used in manga, the medium that destroys American comics on a monthly basis, to where manga has to carry the comic book industry. Lombardi here says, he sure has screwed Drunk 3P over so hard he didn't even use lube. Focus on his own business, because dummies can't spell either, because again, they can't read for shit and they can't spell for shit. Not the creator paying him for help, which he buried with Bloodroof, even though Bloodroof launched before Achromatic Chronicles Green. Oh my god. Actually, did Achromatic Chronicles Green? Let me get that. When did this launch? 75 days of pre-order. So yeah, actually this launched first, but Bloodroof isn't going to bury this book because people like Jay and they bought Achromatic Chronicles Blue, and he hit 50K on this campaign 2 weeks in 2 weeks less than the first campaign. Yet EvS has to create a manga variant in order to inflate his numbers of his latest campaign. And he had to reprint manga variants to inflate the numbers of Cyberfrog 3. And he had to add Dark Harvest to inflate the numbers of Cyberfrog 3. He had to add the Cyberfrog toys to inflate the numbers of Cyberfrog 3. Ethan literally has to add anything and everything he can to make more money on Cyberfrog 3, because that thing ain't coming out for another 2 years probably. And then he does a 48-hour limited special for his Hierophant. This is smart. Eric should do the same thing with his books. No, it's called inflating numbers. He's just inflating numbers. Nobody's obsessed with EvS, bro. I'm sorry. We laugh at EvS on a daily basis. We laugh at EvS on a daily basis. We laugh at them on a daily basis. It's like it's like hard to see through that shoulder hair. I mean, you're the one being very obsessed and homosexual or homoerotic towards Eric July, so I wouldn't be talking about anybody being obsessed. We love comics and do talk about them, good ones, in fact. I doubt that. You sound very homosexual. What is with these gay individuals' fascination with another man's body hair? Isom has reviewed higher than regular people. Higher with regular people over Cyberfrog is what I was supposed to say. EVS's book's better than Chuck Dixon, Soska's, and Mike Barron. Now I know you're full of crap. This is why I say it's called inflate numbers. He has to do so and does it because suckers will jump at it. You got the same suckers constantly. Like Teasel Spencer, like BTM Reviews, like Jim Satala, who will literally just continue to buy those Trump covers. That's why he has to continue to put those out. And this person says, great quality books. I was like, yep, great quality books. Quality books, it's my opinion. It's okay that your frog daddy hates the books. You have to fall in line with whatever opinion he tells you. Tell me what's your favorite part of Cyberfrog and Inglorious Rex. So, again, no response at all because these guys don't actually care. Dude calls himself a comic book reader. I doubt that. I highly doubt that. Not even close. DC Comics sells tens of thousands of graphic novels per quarter, and this is him responding to Dan Cotter, who says, Bloodroof's going to make the Rippaverse 7 for 7 on selling over 10K books for each release. Marvel and DC don't come close to moving graphic novels like that. If you want to change the culture, that this is a company that has the skills and means to do so. To do it. How do you sit here and say this retarded statement? What? Again, congratulations, they sell old material over and over again because their new material is trash. They get crapped on by manga year over year. Rippaverse destroys the sales of DC for DC all the time. You know this guy doesn't read comics. You know it. You absolutely know it. You absolutely know it, bro. And this is just here to sum up the entire thing of what I was trying to initially say. But Unearthing America sums it up perfectly here. Things that are true about the Rippaverse. Eric funded the initial ISOM campaign with his own money, has continually reinvested his profits into the business. Eric has raised additional capital from the sales of his books and merchandise, which he still continues to sell after campaigns. And, by the way, which these guys just willfully ignorant about and just tell you that it's all about the campaign numbers because they're so dumb. It is wholly owned by Eric and has no debt, to my knowledge. The books and merchandise are done, ready to ship before a campaign or collection launches, with the exception of CGC books and the Yara statue and the ISOM statue. Through reinvestments, Eric has been able to hire additional staff, create new products like the Yara statue with McFarlane, the ISOM statue with Iron Studios, and build a new division to provide distribution services to fellow creators with decreased shipping prices. Customers do not experience exceptionally long wait times to receive what they ordered and are kept informed of any delays, like with Horseman and the ISOM #1 signature series, which were delayed by Hurricane Milton. I wouldn't call it what the Rippaverse does crowdfunding because the customer's risk is basically zero. You pay for your product, you get product, not the promise of you might get product. You're guaranteed to get product when you buy from the Rippaverse. You're not guaranteed to get product when you buy from garbage new CG. And by new CG, I mean Ethan, Shane, and John, but mostly Ethan, because John's delivered probably more. I believe John's probably delivered more books than Ethan, and Shane's definitely delivered more books than Ethan. But Ethan is really the prime suspect. I've gotten everything I ordered from Billy Tucci on in a timely manner. Anything else I've ordered, this is kind of up in the air, but I've gotten 3 books from that umbrella guy. And I only got 1 book from Ethan. 1. Just 1. And I don't care about it. So at the end of the day, these guys are just going to continue to be clowns. They're going to continue to get butthurt over literally anything I say. I don't even have to tag anybody. These guys somehow just show up in my timeline. As usual, I'll quote tweet one person, say my piece, move on, and literally I'll just get my comments and quote tweets filled with a bunch of retarded individuals who will sit there and try to somehow argue around and project and move the goalposts and all this other nonsense that they tend to do. So I thank you all for checking out this video. I know it's a long one, but I appreciate you for sticking around this long. Like the content if you like it. Subscribe for more content. Comment below if you feel about all this. Hit the bell for notifications. Set the bell to all notifications. That way you'll get one every time I go live on this channel or post a new video. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.